This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, December 16th, 2021. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The front page is brought to you by the Leadership Institute. The Leadership Institute trains conservatives to defend freedom. They've just published a free guide to help conservatives like you navigate political conversations with liberal family members during the holiday season. As a front page listener, you can get a free copy of this wonderful guide today by visiting leadershipinstitute.org/Christmas. Frustrated with the lack of progress on President Biden's social spending bill, Senate Democrats are talking about subverting the filibuster to force through voting rights legislation. Harris-Alec report Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and other Democratic leaders say the recent success in creating a one-time fast-track process for raising the debt limit by a simple majority has created an opportunity. They say that measure, which passed only because of the support of 10 Republican senators, has opened the door for a broader effort to suspend the filibuster one time to pass voting rights legislation. The key to unlocking the rules change is West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin. Manchin's support, alongside every other Democratic senator, would allow the majority to push through the change immediately. It's unclear exactly what the rule change would look like. Some lawmakers are pushing for a simple one-time filibuster carve-out to pass the voting rights changes. New York City is edging closer to becoming the largest U.S. city to ban natural gas hookups in new construction, seeking to set a national net zero example despite concerns about the impact on energy prices and the electricity grid. Valerie Richardson reports New York City Council approved a measure that would require new buildings with fewer than 7 stories to use power sources other than oil or natural gas for heating, water, and cooking by the end of 2023. Buildings 7 stories or higher would have until July 1, 2027 to meet the standard. The measure includes some exceptions where electrification might not yet be a feasible substitute, among them laboratories, hospitals, and commercial kitchens. There are few places in D.C. not affected by Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas' new rules discouraging immigration enforcement near sensitive locations. Stephen Dinan reports schools and hospitals have long been no-go zones. Mayorkas added food banks, homeless shelters, community-based organizations, daycare centers, and any other place where children might congregate. Mayorkas said people, including illegal immigrants, deserve access to services, so anywhere they can get them should be considered off-limits, except in exceptional circumstances. The front page is brought to you by the Leadership Institute. The Leadership Institute trains conservatives to defend freedom. They've just published a free guide to help conservatives like you navigate political conversations with liberal family members during the holiday season. As a front page listener, you can get a free copy of their guide today by visiting leadershipinstitute.org/Christmas. Despite hundreds of millions of dollars in U.S. military aid, Ukraine is still at a massive disadvantage in military weapons, vehicles, and hardware to Russia. The figures are no surprise given Russia's military history and the amount of firepower left over from its historic Cold War-era buildup, Ben Wolfgang reports. Although Russia is no longer the power it was during the Soviet era, it maintains one of the highest military budgets in the world, about $42 billion annually, compared to Ukraine's $9.6 billion. That's according to data compiled by the Global Firepower Index. Military analysts stress those numbers don't tell the full story when it comes to a potential Russia versus Ukraine clash. The real-world horror of a full-scale land war might play to Ukraine's advantage, as would a soaring level of morale among Ukrainian troops eager to check Russia's aggression. And finally, Salvation Army officials said that a 4-hour national sidewalk challenge in early December raised $1.1 million, more than double the $540,000 raised last year. Salvation Army spokesman Joseph Cohen told our Mark Kellner that the group is seeing a generous response to the Bread Kettle campaign from the public to help hardworking Americans this Christmas. National Commander Kenneth Hodder said the Salvation Army hopes to raise $175 million of its overall holiday donations this year from its Red Kettle campaign. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.